Also, you explained getter and setter also little bit, and
Yes, I'll see that today. Again, let's have a quick recap. Okay. Yeah. So now let me share my screen. So coming over here. Yeah, here you go. So yes. Okay. So I hope my eclipse is visible to you, right?
yeah,
Okay, so this is what in the last class that we have discussed. So OOP we have talked about. So object-oriented programming, why we prefer is like to address the real-time entities, we will go with the object-oriented programming. So in that, if you see, we have some concepts that is class concepts like we can say like a terminologies, the terms. So class, object, variables, and even in the variables, if you see, we have instance variable, reference variable, local variable, and static variable. So we had seen an example of all these variables as well, right? Then we talked about the principles of OOPS. So we have the principle of OOPS, if you see, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction. Okay, and then yes, in the OOP principles, if you see, we have covered encapsulation. Encapsulation means binding the data and methods, which means we should not tell them that what is happening. Okay, what is happening inside. So we just want to give them the answer. Okay, so just a capsule. Okay, that just a capsule. Inside there will be a, I mean, form tablets kind of a thing, right? So that will be invisible. So it will be covered with some capsule, right? The similar thing, encapsulation. So it will hide, okay? It will hide inside, okay? It will hide whatever is happening inside the method. Just if you say object dot encapsulation student, it will tell you what is happening. If you say student dot display, it will just give this, okay, it will just give whatever you have mentioned, but it won't say like how it did. I mean, how it did. So display, you said, okay, I will display whatever you want. But I won't say you from where I fetched, from where the calculation happened. So all those things will not be visible. So that is what the encapsulation. And coming over to the polymorphism, yes, polymorphism, we have two types of polymorphism. So polymorphism, we can say like many forms. Many forms. So in polymorphism, you have runtime polymorphism. Another one is compile time polymorphism. So runtime polymorphism, we will be discussing that when we talk about the inheritance. Now method overloading, that is what the compile time polymorphism, which means having I mean same function, okay, same function name with a different number of arguments. Okay, same function name with a different number of arguments is what your method overloading. So you can do this overloading for the constructor also. Okay, you can do this in the constructor also. So that we call it as a constructor overloading. So when you say method overloading, the method which is inside the class, for example, display. Okay, now I wanted to display only the student name. I don't want all. So in that case, what you can do, you can go ahead and say only, you can say only name like this. See, same name. Okay, same name, but different number of arguments. Here parameterless, here parameter. So same method with a different number of parameters. So that we call it as a method overloading. If the same thing, if we do it for the constructor, then that we call it as a constructor overloading. Okay, so the number of parameters matters, type of parameter matters, and the order of parameters that also matters. So method overloading is an example for the compile type polymorphism because which we also call it as static binding. Okay, static binding. Because the method call is resolved at the compile time based on the method signature. Now, if we say here display, so during the compile term only, it will get to know that display, this is the signature. So it will go ahead. Based on the method signature, the compiler will take place, like to which method it has to go. Is it clear? Is it clear?
yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now, yes, let's move on to the next one. So today is day 11, right? Okay, let me create a package.
Day 10 or day 11?
Day 11, right? So previously we had day 10. Okay. So, so we will talk about the next inheritance and abstraction, and then we will come about the method overload. Okay, method overriding. Okay, so now let's talk about inheritance. Okay, so today let's talk about the inheritance and abstraction. So first let's move on with the inheritance. Okay, now what is inheritance, or what that comes to your mind when you hear this term inheritance? Inheritance. So when you say inheritance, the first thing that comes to our mind is like parent child relationship relation. So inheritance is the fundamental concept of your OOP, object oriented programming, because here it allows a child class to inherit the properties and behavior of your parent class. So here parent class will be called as a super class. Okay, super class, and child class will be called as a base class. Base class. Now coming over here, let's say like whatever our parents have that belongs to us, right? Whatever our parents have that belongs to us, but whatever we have that is very secret for us. That is how we will be, right? So we will use our parents' item, but if our parents comes to use our items, we will say no, right? So the similar thing in the inheritance. Think of that scenario. Okay. All right. So coming over here, the base class, the child class will use all the arguments, all the methods from the parent class. Okay. All right. So inheritance, if you see, again, it promotes the code reusability, polymorphism, and all those things. So here we have types of inheritance in Java. Okay, we have types of inheritance. There are several types in inheritance, but not all the types of inheritance are acceptable in the Java. Okay, but let me tell you what are the types of inheritance first we have, and then I will let you know what are acceptable in Java. So first we have single inheritance. Okay, then multi-level inheritance, then hierarchical inheritance, then fourth, let's say multiple inheritance, then fifth, if you see, hybrid inheritance. So these are the types of inheritance that we have. Okay, these are the types of inheritance that we have. Okay, now coming over here, these are the 5 types. Okay, these are the 5 types. And now coming over here, inheritance, the mechanism what it is followed, it is like deriving a new class from the existing class. That is like new class is child class, parent class is the existing class. Okay, existing class is the let's say like existing class, we can say like a super class, and here the child we can also call like, if in the name of super I can say like a derived one. Okay, we can say like a derived class or a subclass like that. Okay, now here super class or parent class we will say this, which means yes, we can make use of the parent properties. Properties means the variables, the instance variables, methods that can be used by the child class. Okay, the class whose properties are inherited, that we call it like a parent class. The class that inherits the properties of the parent class, that we call it as the child class. Now here the relationship between the parent and the child class, that we address it as is a relationship. Is a relationship. We will address the inheritance as is a relationship. Suppose there are two classes. Okay, two classes, let's say father and child, and we want to inherit the properties of the father class in the child class. Okay, so when you want to bring the is a relationship, okay, you have to say extends keyword. You want to use extends keyword from the from the child class. For example, let's say class parent. Now I want to say class child. Now I want to say this child is a child of this parent class. So for that, I have to say extends and the parent class name I have to say. That's it. So when you have a user relationship, you have to bring the keyword called extends, and that denotes the inheritance. Inheritance. Okay, so now, yes. So now coming over here, I said you like we can make use of the properties and behavior of the parent. Yes, of course we can. Now at the same time, if the child also want its own properties, yes, the child also has its own properties. Not a problem. Okay, not a problem at all. Now when we want to use this inheritance, when we want to use inheritance. So inheritance, whenever inheritance, if you see, reusability of code, especially when there is a large scale of code is to reuse. So there you can establish a relationship between the different class with the is a relationship, and we can also use it whenever we want to achieve method overriding, that is our runtime polymorphism. Whenever you want to achieve the runtime polymorphism, that is the method overriding, we can go ahead with the inheritance. And coming over here, few points that we have to remember with the inheritance. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right. The points to remember. I'm sorry. The points to remember. The first point is you cannot inherit the constructor. Okay, constructor cannot be inherited. Okay, constructor cannot be inherited in Java. Second, private members, which means like the visibility. For some arguments you might kept as a visibility as private, right? So that private will not be inherited in Java. So our parents will have some personal. We cannot interfere in their personal. That is what here. Private members, they do not get inherited in the Java. And then coming over here, you can like assign parent reference to the child objects. Okay. So parent reference to the child object. So what does this means? So basically child object means we will create object for the child class. Okay. We will be creating a child object means we will be creating an object for the child class. Parent reference. This will be the reference. Like this you can assign. Parent class reference, but you can assign it to the child object. Okay. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Now coming over here, the next thing. Now whenever you call like object, child object, first it will go to the parent constructor and then only it will come to the child constructor. So constructors get executed because of super which is present in the constructor. So which means whenever you're calling the child class, okay, when you say new child, what will happen? This will call the constructor of child class, right? Whenever you are creating an object, that will go ahead with the constructor only, right? So when you say here child, it will go and call the constructor of child class. Now inside the child constructor, the first line would be super, which means we have to call the parent first. Okay, we have to call the parent first. Now here we have 5 types of inheritance: single, multi-level, hierarchical, multiple, hybrid. And coming over here, if you see, multiple inheritance will not supported by Java. Java does not support, okay, does not support the multiple inheritance. Hybrid inheritance, yes, but here it is supported by the combination using interface. Okay, using interface, it is implemented. Okay, using interface. Now let's talk about this in detail. Single inheritance, multi-level hierarchy, multiple, hybrid. In that, multiple is not supported in Java. Now let's talk about the single inheritance. Single inheritance means we'll be having one parent and one child. That is what single inheritance. One parent and one child. We have one superclass and one subclass. That is what the single inheritance. Okay. All right. So now, if you wanted to see, okay, now let's say an example for this. Okay. Now let's say I will take over here an employee. Okay. I will take here as an employee. Okay. Now what we do is over here, I'll just take a name. Now coming over here, I have a class. Okay. I have a class employee. Okay. Now otherwise I'll make this as tester. Now here, let's say class employee. Okay. So here we have employee. Now for this employee, let's say like float salary equal to let's say like 0.0f, and let's say like string name equal to like this we will say, or let's say like this. Now we will be having a part-time employee and a full-time employee, contract employee, right? So let's say like public class, or let's say simply class part-time employee. Part-time employee is also an employee, right? Is the relationship. See, part-time employee is the employee, contract employee is the employee, full-time employee is the employee. So coming over here is the relationship over here. This is the employee. Employee comes the parent class. Okay, part-time employee is the employee. So is the relationship. So when you have is the, you have to say extends, and you have to say employee. That's all. This is how you will be declaring. Okay, this is how you'll be declaring. Now let's say, okay, so this is like a basic allowance, let's say. Basic allowance, let's say like 10,000, let's say. Okay, let's say basic allowance is 10,000. So now for part-time employee, we have some percentage, like 10% of this will be added. Or full-time, we will say 20% of the basic allowances will be added. Okay, so now let's see how we can. So I'm going to say float bonus equals to 10. Okay, bonus equals to 10. Now, if I wanted to, okay, if I wanted to display a salary, okay, I want to display a salary. Now let's go ahead. Now coming over here, I'm just going to say, okay, part-time employee, let's say like EMP1 equal to new part-time employee. So here if you see one parent and one child, so this is what the single inheritance. Okay, one parent and the one child. So we have a single inheritance over here. So now straight away we are calling the object. Now you can go ahead and say bonus. If you say EMP1 dot Similarly, if you say salary plus TMP1 dot salary, or let's say like the basic allowance. Okay, let's say over here. Now let's execute this. Can you see? Bonus is 10 and salary is 10,000. Now, why we are having a decimal point dot zero? Because of the data type that we have mentioned. The data type is float, so you are getting a decimal. Now, the point over here to be observed is like we have one parent and one child, and here we called we have a reference variable for the child object. So we have a child reference to the child object. So bonus is a variable that is inside the child, and the basic allowance is a variable that is inside the parent. So when you say EMP1, which is a child reference and accessing the variable of parent, first what it will go and check inside the child class only. If it is not there, then it will go ahead and check the parent class. Again, if it is not there, then only it will come as an error. Okay, first it will check with the child. If not, it will go and check with the parent. And if that is not there, then it will throw an error. So this is what your single inheritance is all about.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now the next thing is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance means, okay, multi-level inheritance means a class derived from a class which is also derived from another class. Now, which means we will be having here, we will say child. Okay. So one child is inherited from one class, that is parent, which is derived from one more class, that is what your one grand. Okay, or we can say like one parent, one child, one grandchild in that case. Multi-level inheritance, there is one parent, one child, and one grandchild, which means a class is derived from one class, which is also derived from the another class, is what the parent, I mean multi-level inheritance. Okay, so for multi-level inheritance, any examples do you have?
Multi-label.
Multi-level. So one parent, one child, and one grandchild.
Well,
Multi-level inheritance. Any kind of an example that you have?
I think car speed of car wheels. This is multi-label.
Okay, car speed. Okay, now let's go ahead with this. Okay, now this employee is for your single inheritance. Okay,
Like vehicle is the class, and then car, sports car. We can say sports car or passenger car. It's like
car. Okay, car is a parent class. So sports car is a
no,
car.
no. Vehicle is the parent class. Then car is the uh,
Good.
in the
Yes, yes.
car
So
there is
vehicle.
category sports car, passenger, or like single. I mean, uh, we can categorize in the car.
Exactly. Yes, yes. Perfect. So now coming over here, yes. Let's say like multi-level inheritance. Right?
Vehicle is the I think you can do
Yeah, yeah.
separate
Correct, correct.
separate.
So separate. One second. Then I will make this a single inheritance. Okay, so class vehicle. So as you said, yes, class vehicle is a parent class. Okay, class vehicle is a parent class. So now here you can have your properties and whatever you can select behaviors. Okay, so now let's say class car extends vehicle, right? And then what we have class. Okay, so let's say like passenger. That's what you said, right? So class passenger
Sports
or a
car,
sports
sports.
car. Okay, so let's say like sports extends. Yes. Okay. All right. So now you can have like this class vehicle. So in the vehicle, you can have string, brand, int, speed, right? So if you want, you can have vehicle, brand equal to brand, start speed equal to speed. So this is your parent class. Now car, if you see car, you can say like string fuel type. Whenever you're creating a variable, you have to create the variable. I mean, you have whenever you're creating a constructor, you have to bring the variable of your parent class also. Okay. So now we have, so here you have to say super and brand and the speed. Why? Because we don't have the brand and speed variable inside the child. We have that inside the parent. So in that case, whenever you're creating a constructor, the next line will be the super. Okay, the next line will be the super. Similarly for this sports car. Okay, if you want a boolean status equal to false. So again, you have to select car, let's select sports, sports car. Here you have to say this one. Here you will say super, but for supercar, the super is car. So what is constructor that we will be passing it. Okay, super. All right. So we will be calling it. Okay. So I'll come to this a bit later now. Okay. But before that, let's see what will happen in the this one. Okay. So here we are saying sports car. Okay. Sports car is the constructor for your this. We'll come this a bit later. But now when you want to display the information, okay, when you want to display the information, so what you can do it.
Why you remove that?
I'll tell you that. Okay. So here is like a constructor part. Okay. Constructor part. I'll tell you. Now, before to that, I wanted to show you how this car and the vehicle works. Okay. Can you tell me? Yes. So now I have to give the constructor. Okay, so that is what the sports car, let's say. Okay, sports car. Okay, constructor. Okay. Yes. Now, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Now coming over here, if you see, we have vehicle, okay, brand, this thing. So we have a constructor. Now I showed you, I mean, I didn't show you that, right? Okay, let me show you that before we step into this. Okay, before we step into this, can you see here? All right, the same thing only it came. Okay, constructor. Only 1 minute. I'll do it. Yeah, sports car, Boolean status. Yeah. So now here you have to say Boolean status. Boolean status. So here you have to say this dot status equals to status. Similarly, over here, this dot field type equal to field type. Okay, so coming over here, if you see, we have a parent class as vehicle. Okay, in that we have only the attribute and the constructor. Similarly, for the car extends vehicle. So car is a vehicle, and we have a attributes and the constructor. And when you're calling the constructor of the child class, if you see, we have a super of the role, but there's nothing but the parent one. So if you want it, you can print and see. Okay, so you can print and see like parent constructor. And here you can say, here you can say shall. Always I said, you right, the first line should be the super. So if you want inside, you can do it. And then similarly, this one. Okay, this is like, let's say like grandchild. Okay, now, so we have only constructor. Now, if I go ahead and see, I'm going to have car equal to new car. Now, what happens over here? Okay, for car, I have to say the brand. Okay.
Sports car, you need to use a sports car. Sports car is equal to, you need to create for a sport because final level we
Ah,
are
I
entering.
will show you for car because car also has, right? So I'll show you one by one. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Let me see like a Ferrari.
Sports car, my
Speed
sports car is equal to
200.
new sports car.
Wait a second. Fuel type, I will say petrol. Okay. Fuel type, I will say petrol. Now, this is what I'm saying. See, I'm just leaving the grandchild. Instead, I'm going with the child. That is also possible. So now let's see what is happening. So now whatever you say, right? First it will go to what it will go. It will go to the parent constructor and then it will come to the child constructor. Okay. Now if the same thing, if I do it for the sports car, if the same thing, if I do it for the sports car and the status, let me say that's true. Then Parent class, child class, grandchild class. Clear? Is it clear? Is it clear?
So all methods you are calling in one.
It's a constructor, right? So whenever you're creating an object, okay, whenever you're assigning an object, so what will happen, the first call, it will go to the parent class only. So when you say sports car, when you create a sports car character, okay, when you say sports car character, I mean, sorry, object over here, it will go to the sports car constructor. And that constructor, what it will happen, it will call the parent constructor first. What is the parent constructor of sports car? Is car. So it will call the car constructor, and it will go to the car constructor one. So again, there is a super. So which means it's superior to this. So it will go and execute it and then come back like this. Is that clear?
Yeah, but how you will insert the parameters in this?
So you have to fill thing. See, brand, speed, fuel type, status. Brand int is for the parent. Fuel type is for the child. Status is for the grandchild.
Hmm.
Okay.
No, no, don't need to hard code if we will give at that way.
See here in the object calling only I have set it. Can you see? When we are invoking a call, when we are invoking an object, there itself we are passing it.
But in the output, final output, what will come?
In the final output, I just given a print message only, nothing to display. Now, if I wanted to have a method, let's say, okay, I wanted to have a method. Okay, I can have any method. So let me say, like over here, let me say,
Void drive or something like
what I want to give.
void drive or void turbo boost, like in this car void drive. Turbo boost.
Second.
Sports car is boosting at speed we can. But why to use if else directly you cannot print without if else
Just
use?
display. I'm just printing it.
Uh,
That's not.
no, no, just printing. But is this required? This if else or without if else also we can print, I
Without
think.
if else also you can, but I'm just giving some statement. That's it. From processing statement. Okay, some processing statement. Or let's say, like, instead of status only, let's say this one. Status. Okay. All right. Is that is clear?
Yeah.
See, just an example only. Okay. Now let's say here in the car. Okay, in the
In
car,
the
let's
car
say like
also
a
you have to print. I think you have to give one method. Void drive.
sorry.
Speed. Fuel also, you can give fuel,
Speed.
or either wheels.
Okay, so now coming over here. So for this class, we have car brand, we have car brand, speed, fuel type is of the, uh, that is what we are collecting over here. So in that, what we are passing, okay, we will be passing, uh, let's say like we will be passing the brand and the speed, which means like which brand we are sending, okay, that will be sent to the parent class. The rest fuel type will be with the child class. Is it is clear?
Uh,
Is that
this dot fuel type, if you are passing, or if you have already done car, this you passed already brand speed fuel type, do you need to do this dot fuel type? Is this mandatory, or it's optional?
see for the different cars, fuel type will be different, different brand, different speed will be there.
But you have already passed that argument in that na, string brand into speed fuel
See,
value.
this is the constructor. This is not the method. This is the constructor which you will be creating. See, coming over here, we are creating a constructor for the sports car.
Yeah, yeah.
We are passing the parameter. In the sports car, we have only status of variable. So true alone will be assigned over here. But what will be the values of remaining one? So I have to go to the car class. So I have to increase. So you can see here. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just storing over here. Okay. So here in my sports car, I have only status, but in my car, I have fuel type. So till fuel type, I'll be taking to the child. Now, once it is done, then I can go to the parent where it will have the rest of the things.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
So now coming over here, let's say,
Can you run this?
yeah, one second.
Still some error is going.
Is this is clear? Sorry. Are you there?
Yeah.
Now see, coming over here, we have one class, okay, as a parent, another class as a child class, another class as a child, grandchild. Okay, so inside the same three different classes, you can have the same only class. Okay, you have a class, constructor, and the method. The same thing only you'll be having in all the class. Is that is clear?
Hmm.
Okay. Now, when you're calling a child class, when you're calling a child class object, okay, when you're calling a child class object. So that will go to the method which is there in the its class. If it is not there, it will go to the parent class. That is what over here.
Hmm.
Okay, sports car uh, referred to this particular one. Let's say like what do you call the once again
Oh,
I forgot.
why you are printing this parent constructor, car constructor? It's not required. No? We need to print the brand, speed, all these things.
See, whenever you are invoking an object, okay, whenever you are invoking an object, it will go to the constructor, and inside the
Okay,
constructor, the first line of the constructor will be the parent class constructor, superdot. So that is the reason I showed you like where it is going first.
okay, okay,
So
that's
here we
fine.
have sports car object. So it go to the sports car constructor, but first it says super. So which goes to the previous cars constructor. Again super. It will go to the car constructor and it will say what it is there. And then only it will come to the next.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when we are accessing the properties of parents, like parents, then child to the grandchild, then finally we are accessing the methods. So whatever methods we are declared in those parents and childs, that we need to access finally, so that we can print the properties of all those parents and childs. If I'm not wrong, I don't know.
Yeah. See, the same
Yeah.
thing only. So first, what will happen? It will go ahead to the grandchild class, though we have created an object for the child class, right? So where you have created, it will check first there. If it is not there, then you will go to the parent class. Again, if it is not there, it will go to the grandparent class. Yeah.
Brand, speed, and fuel type. But see, we are not able to print these things, na? Like brand, speed, fuel type, and in the final sports car, like it's like
Which one you wanted to print? See, this one I didn't call the function name. Function name is car info. I didn't call that,
you call each
right?
and every property in the final. You need to call, I think.
You see, this is our program, okay, and our scenarios only. If you want, I will call it. That's all. Okay,
Yeah.
Ferrari is moving
Okay.
at 200 kilometer car brand Ferrari speed 200 fuel type petrol. Ferrari has activated the turbo model. The speed is okay. So you can see over here the speed is increased. Clear now?
Yeah, this is the thing in the last,
Now,
I think.
now coming over here, okay. If I say
This
uh,
scare you used for what? Scare?
this
What?
is the object, the
Okay,
reference
okay.
variable.
You have given any, you can write anything in this SQL. Okay, fine, understand.
Okay, this is your multi-level inheritance. Okay, multi-level inheritance.
But I
Any
think
doubts on
it can be minimized. This is too much if I am not wrong.
why?
Something.
No,
No, final output is okay, but whatever it's. I mean, the lines of program is more. How we can minimize this thing?
how you can say no. See how you are saying that this is more. How? Sorry, 1 second.
First we declared, then we printed. That's fine. Yeah,
See,
one
first you
second.
have a variable, then
Hmm.
constructor, one method. Variable constructor, one method. Variable constructor, one method. That's it. Though you added a if else statement inside the activate turbo, maybe it feels more. And you can see we have declared an object and we have the methods. That's all. Can you see? Still you have doubts?
No, no, no doubt. But I think I will minimize, not an issue. I will, I will minimize this. I
Okay.
know, no issue. Later on, I will show you tomorrow something.
Okay, sure. All
Yeah.
right. So now what I do, I'll just send you this. Okay. Two inheritance that we have seen. Okay. I will send it to you.
And day one discussion, day 11, yeah. Can you share yesterday file also? I mean, 10, class 10 also, because I did not find on my PC. I don't know whether I downloaded or not. I'm not sure.
Sending it. Okay, I'm sending it. You can take it up. Okay, you have it. Okay, so today's and yesterday's are there. I mean, today's and last class are there, so you can have a look about. Have you downloaded the one? Have you taken the file?
No, I'm just taking, wait, please, 1 minute.
Yeah. So with this, we will stop over here. So I want you to come up with the
So in the day 10, 2 files or 3 files?
day 10 is 4 files. Customer encapsulations tester dated discussion. And day
Sure.
1 is 3 file, multi-level, single, and day 11.
Okay. In the day 11, 3 files, huh?
Yes. Multi-level, single, and day 11. Customer encapsulation tester dated is dated.
Okay.
Okay, now I will give you an assignment. So you have to come up with a single inheritance and multi-level inheritance scenario.
Sure.
Okay, once you come with that, yes, we will move on with the hierarchical and hybrid. I mean, hierarchical and hybrid tomorrow. And then we will complete the inheritance and also the abstraction. Okay, is it clear?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So can you open
Yeah,
the program again? 1 second, sorry.
sure,
Can you
sure.
open that program again if you have not closed?
Mhm.
Uh,
Here
that
it
one.
is.
So can you go to the parent class, please? So first, what
Mm.
you are, this is the vehicle is the parent class. First, what you are doing, 3 steps are there. Can you let me know what are the 3 steps these?
Instance variable that you have to declare the variable for the instance variable.
Hmm.
Then you're calling the constructor. Then you're having one method.
So calling, first declaring the variables, then calling the constructor, then invoking the method, which
This method will be called in the tester class.
in the final
And
class.
that, yeah, in the tester class.
Just- Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So you said you will minimize this, right? So you can minimize this and come up
We'll
with
see.
your own scenario.
I will try to
Yeah,
experiment
yeah,
because
try.
I have tried before. I mean, before some time before, I was working on inheritance. Then there was one program I minimized, and within the, I mean, I will show you tomorrow how I did that one. I will also try to do this. I'm not sure, but I will try from my side. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, you can.
Yeah.
All right. So coming over here, I'm giving a small assignment. You have to come up with an example where you can declare the single inheritance and multiple inheritance. Okay.
Single. Okay. So you want 2 programs with single as well as multiple.
Yes, exactly.
Any.
Can yes, no. I want one single and one multi-level scenario. It can be yours. I don't have any problem.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So complete that, and then tomorrow we'll be completing the inheritance and single hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance that we'll be covering, and then yes, that's it. We'll
Overriding
go
also.
ahead.
Overriding is
Yes,
remaining.
overriding.
Method
Yes.
overriding.
So I'm checking like once we complete the multi-level, and then we will talk about the new child. Okay, and then we will go ahead. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
See, regarding
Yes.
that for weekend classes, anybody talked with you? Because I informed to multiple people, they told we will check. Is any
Okay.
update
I
on
didn't
that?
get any update. I didn't get any update. Once I get, I'll let you know. Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Nida.
Thank you. Please come up with an assignment of single and multi-level. We will from there
Sure.
we will enhance it to the hierarchical and hybrid. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.